from the Zarlak Nebula here in the Kingdom of Avalon, enjoying a nice, crisp 58-degree day. I don't know what that means in Celsius for some of our foreign listeners, viewers, whatever you do. I don't know if y'all watch me, listen to me. The few of you that do, though, shout out to y'all. Today, November 4th, 2025, one of the most evil men in history passed away today, for sure. Like, I want to have a computer in front of me, and then I can actually kind of break down all the stuff that made this guy kind of a funky little guy. Let me see. Here's a little meme that came. What up, Gun? What up, Ray? How y'all doing? Yeah, today, Dick Cheney, he's no longer with us. He was in control of the largest military contractor, and he became vice president. Over 1 million people died in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he made $38.5 billion during his presidency, his vice presidency. So, and he famously shot his friend. Him and Don Rumsfeld, they're in on the September fiasco of 2001, of the 11th. Speaking in code, because we just started. Yeah, so that mass ritual sacrifice that happened in 2001 is kind of come full circle with the passing of Dick Cheney, a great American hero. Ooh. But yeah, thought that's interesting. It's gonna be kind of a quick one today, y'all, because I gotta go to work and stuff soon. But when I saw Dick Cheney passed away, it just, nobody deserves to die. It is sad, probably for his family, I imagine. He's a lizard. Dick Cheney was a lizard. They probably just had to say he died because they didn't want to, they can't be having people known there's immortal lizard people walking around the earth. So, yeah, I thought that was crazy. He was vice president when I was a boy for 8 years, my childhood growing up. Yeah. He was CEO of Halliburton at the beginning. I can't think of any other vice presidents, political figures who were CEOs of things whenever they became into office. We all know George Bush was a patsy. He was a, a crony. I don't know the exact terminology it'd be, but we all know George Bush wasn't. As Dick Cheney was really the president of the U.S. for 8 years. Him and Don Rumsfeld kind of pulled the strings for all those years. The military-industrial complex. You can look to Dick Cheney. He was a prime example of the military-industrial complex. He wasn't one of the dudes in the back rooms. I've talked about the back rooms where people meet. The elites meet, the oligarchy, as they should be called. They meet every so often, maybe 20, 30, 40 years in these back rooms, and then they decide how culture and society and everything's going to shift and go for everybody. Here we go. He was one of those guys. He was one of the spokespersons of them. There's a good movie that has Christian Bale playing as Dick Cheney. It's called Vice. Definitely recommend that. Oh, I don't know the exact cause of death for him. He's 84 years old. Yeah, 84 years old, I would say that. He was a lizard, though. They had to act like he died, What are y'all getting into today? I was going to hit one of the buddies up and try to get them to go live with me, but I'm probably only going to go live for another 20 or 30 minutes. What up, Jules? Good to see you again. I know I ain't been live in a minute during the daytime, but getting back into it. Yeah. Dick Cheney passes away today. I wonder if the Illuminati... No, he wasn't Illuminati. He was a Skull and Bones, I believe, whatever. I wonder what they do. I wonder if they're going to have his skull amongst their I've heard that they keep bones, do scrimshaw and bones of past members of the whatever their secret society. But I wonder if they keep Dick Cheney's skull up there now. It's food for thought. Uh, I'm stuffed up with something. Lord have mercy. And y'all starting to get that ache yet? I plan on going live, doing the game later on tonight. I seen what's up with that, doing some Stellaris. Get us kind of prepared for 3i Atlas's entry. I heard it came around the sun. I guess that brightened up. It's all psyop bullshit though to propagate Project Bluebeam. Just like us. That's not Dick Cheney was. I haven't read any of the news outlets, the reactions and obituaries for Dick Cheney. But here's Dick Cheney's obituary on this channel. Just kind of sum it all up again. He met Don Rumsfeld back in the mid-'60s. Don Rumsfeld said being a politician would be a great way to get some money. And so they started realizing that through war, if they own... So the people that own these weapons companies, which is what Dick Cheney was, they make money off of the wars because the United States government buys all these missiles, planes, weapons, all this stuff. We all know this. Off of people like Halliburton, Lockheed Martin, things of that nature. Those are just the two biggest ones come to mind. No. Dick Cheney, it's this, he'll be remembered as somebody that was making money off war while he was in office, kind of directing the country towards war. What up, Patricia? So, Dick Cheney he profited off of the wars that he helped start. They were talking about this Iraq, Afghanistan, 9/11, climate change, you name it. They were talking about this all the way back in the 60s. At least him and Don Rumsfeld, that generation. That generation of the old guard, as it were. But at one point, they were the young dudes. What are y'all getting into, Patricia? What up, Point? Yeah. Yeah, he's gone back home now. He'll also be remembered as being responsible for the death. It said 1 million deaths. I feel like that's too small of a number. You got to think, because it's not just like the United States don't just use these weapons. Other countries use these weapons. Then jihadist groups, militant groups of that nature, they get access to these weapons. We left a whole bunch of these weapons behind in Afghanistan. So Pakistan and Taliban are fighting actively because there's Taliban forces active in Pakistan. The Pakistan Taliban, who have ties to the Afghani Taliban. So this shit is all very complicated. Oh, and the policies before that him and his little buddies set up back in the, like I say, in the mid 60s to early 80s. That's what kind of helped set the rest of the world against us, right? Yeah. And if you want to get a little biblical on it, they might have rearmed the Taliban to, they know that all that, these pastoralists, I don't know, what would you call them? They're not, I wouldn't want to say they're nomads. Like, I guess they would be kind of like nomadic tribe. They're tribesmen, basically, for the most part. They're like, they're like the horde. They come from the horde originally. So, it might be connected to Gog and Magog. For sure, all this stuff, if you think about it, Dick Cheney, Don Rumsfeld, George Bush Sr., McNamara, a lot of these guys, they were all on some dirty shit. Like they've been for who knows how long they've been easing in the way for the Antichrist to come into power. The new world order to really hold on and take solidification. And if you think about it, all this stuff going on in Russia, all this stuff going on over, like that's this is all the area. If you look into it, I don't have my computer with me now, but Gog and Magog, they come from the east, right? Towards whatever they from the east of Israel. So with Gog, so you got to think about it. Afghanistan, China, Russia, all that stuff is to the east of Israel. If you looked it up on a map right now, it might be northeast, whatever, but it's all east of it. And these nations, um, they're already very warlike nations. You look at all their parades all the time. You look at their does it desensitize? I don't know how do I say it? Desensitization to violence. Um, so these it truly is. If you talking about good and evil, I know it sounds fucking crazy to say the Taliban is evil. Fuck yeah, the Taliban's evil. Who I mean, if you yeah, they were if you think all this shit, anybody that fights is fighting for something. But these people are Gog and Magog. If you think about it, all the militaries that they're gathering together. How's it going over there in Canada, by the way? I think that y'all need to go ahead and overthrow y'all's country, brother. For sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I hate to say it, though, I think that the West and GTA 6, that's going to be one of the features I heard. But with a lot of the Western countries, I feel like we have kind of become, it's crazy because all these, like the third world countries, they're more like the old West, Wild West, like barbaric kind of shit, Mad Max kind of stuff on the verge. Some of them are on the verge of that. Some of them kind of are like that already. You look at Nigeria, you look at Sudan, you look at Haiti, you look at a lot of South American countries. It's kind of like every man for himself, shoot from the hip, kind of shit going on down there. It's not like that here, but I kind of lost track a little bit for what I'm saying. Kind of lost track, got a little passionate on that. But as far as like that is, we are, instead of being like that, we're on the more softer side of it. We are becoming, like, they all think it's great to move over here and immigrate to all these countries, but they don't realize is that this is a prison. We're all being, it's being set up to be a prison. The West, places like, United States, Canada, and stuff like that. It's possibly being set up to be a mass prison. But what's going on over there in Canada, brother? Yeah, they're trying to send like 400,000 Indians. Oh, it was Dick Cheney, some dude. Yeah, they're trying to send 400,000 Indian migrant workers over to Japan, and the Japanese people are not having that at all. That's what a temporary work program kind of deal, and that's what they were doing in Japan. They have a new prime minister, an Iron Lady. I forgot her name. I wouldn't be able to pronounce it too good if I did. But yeah, she said no. I think they're putting a stop to that. I'm not sure. All these people are just a face, though. She might be trying to. She's probably lying to the Japanese people, but they were rioting, going insane at the idea of these Indians. They were saying, no, we don't want Indian people over here in Japan. We're very clean. We're very polite people. You bring 300,000 Indian people over here, it's gonna fuck everything up. Yeah. So what's going on up there, man? What's going on up in Canada, dude? Like they're arresting people for a post online. I don't want to say anything bad on something that might come over to your server, but whatever. Like that whole, I don't know what's going on with Kenneth Paulin? Are you filled in on Kenneth Paulin? Yeah, exactly. Well, that's because they want the reason why they would send 400,000 Indians over there to a nice, clean, respectful place, buddy, is because they want to make it into a shithole. They want to make Japan, they want to make France, all these places that have nice, polite people, very people that actually, like non-drones, type of people. They want, so yes, AI is going to take over, but they don't want people that, they want people that will be kind of okay with not doing shit and being lazy. They don't want people who are going to be like trying to rise against their situation. And I'm not saying, but I feel like that's who they're trying to import. That's not everybody from, but that's the people they're handpicking most likely comes over to these Canada and Japan, United States. Yeah. And yeah, everything is going to be replaced by AI, but they want to break your spirit before they do. Yeah, thank you. They want to break your spirit. They want to break your economy. They want to destroy everything. And then they're going to put the AI. Whenever you're already broken down, I ain't got shit, lost everything, then the AI is going to come. Now, what's up with kind of Pauline Point Fire? And tell me this, what's up with, yeah, Indians from India, but like the Indians there and shit. Like, I know it's not them, but it's the government, I guess, like trying to say that the Cowichan tribe, they're going to take up to 10,000. I don't know what's going on with that still. That I was reading that last week. They're going to take like close to over 10,000 people's homes from them eventually because it's on ancient hunting and fishing grounds. What up, Steph? Shit, we already had about 80 to 90 million of them here before they even got here, dude. Ugh. But it's different. It's different here than it is like it's different in the U.S., man. Because like we're so big, But obviously, still, if we're gonna want people that are gonna want to relate with the culture and speak the language, we're gonna want people that are gonna want to be good parts of the. I know we have plenty of people here that are shitheads and aren't worth the fuck that are born here, been here for generations, but like fuck, are we just supposed to just add to it? And even if they were, like, even if they are shitheads, this is their country, so fuck it. Yeah, exactly. And it's the government saying all that shit. Point. I do not believe that, like, the average Cowichan Indian person wants to take away land from some farmer, just some cold. I saw pick cul-de-sacs and shit. Yeah, he had fucking. Yeah, exactly. He had. Thank you. Back to the legacy of Dick Cheney. He was doing his little obituary. He had 4 heart transplants. Um, a lot of people die waiting on a list to get a heart transplant. So Dick Cheney had 4. While he was vice president, sorry. While Dick Cheney was vice president, he had made $38.4 billion from the money selling. His company had a monopoly on selling weapons and armaments to the U.S. government. The U.S. military, I should say. What else did Dick Cheney do? He shot one of his good friends in the face. The friend survived, only to apologize on the news, telling everybody he's sorry that Dick Cheney shot him. He said it was an accident. I shouldn't have been standing close to him like that. Dick Cheney shot somebody in the face, and then that person apologized to him. That will be on his record. Young, healthy. He was 84, dude. Some dude. He was 84. Yeah. Yeah, he was probably on that thing. He was in GTA 6. He was on adrenochrome and all that kind of shit too. Yeah. Yeah, and it sucks, dude. Like taking the language, taking the land, taking the weapons. Like yo, couldn't like 20 years ago, you gotta think he was 64. But I know that's when you kind of. That's when if you play your cards right, you're doing good. I feel like whenever you get in your 60s, that's when you should start looking a little bit older. I've known people that look like they're in their 60s whenever they're in their late 40s. Yeah. And I was talking about this yesterday with like, it seems like they don't even, in India, I mean, I'm sure this is not for the whole part of everybody in India, but they just don't seem like they respect their own culture. They don't seem like they respect they don't have any respect for their own history, their own culture. They seem very selfish, kind of money driven, very, very money driven, very selfish. Uh, Fake refugees getting over 80 grand a year. Canadians are lined up at food banks. Like, what refugees come? Like, why are they refugizing from India? You know, are they? I don't know. That's what the little work visa situation. Yeah. Whereas, then like, it's one thing to do all that. Yeah, but then you come here and you're gonna look down on a native son. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna look down on somebody that's from here, like speaks the language, is part of the culture. What do you mean when they were rebuilding after the war? Plywood was $125 a sheet. You mean like what do you mean here domestically or over in Iraq and Afghanistan? Patricia. Oh, we got Farmer Dale talking. Mm. Yeah. Yeah, and they had a control. They had their claws in a lot of stuff too. Like it's just it's not. And here we are almost 25 years later. Next year will be the 25th anniversary of 9/11. So 25 years later after that, the thing that kind of kick-started the whole New World Order, downfall of our society. Um, Pretty much the only one of the people left from all that would be probably Bush Jr. You know, exactly. And they do come from a caste system. That's a very good point to. So they might look at it like they own this gas station or some shit, and you go in there as a person buying shit. They look at like, oh, I'm from the merchant class, and then this person's from some low caste because they ain't no merchant. But they do have the right ideas when it comes with families sticking together. 20-year people in one house. They buy that house. They move some other people to another house, and they do it to where eventually each family has a house and a car. That is kind of a good idea. Yeah. Was there anybody sad today? Do you see anybody crying, breaking down in tears over the passing of Dick Cheney? Like, I wonder what his funeral. Is he gonna have a state funeral? You know. Hmm. Farms and orchards reporting thefts across Canada. Yeah, and I bet you if the farmers tried to kick one of those guys' asses, they'd probably get arrested, get in some trouble, huh? Yeah, that's pretty much coming to California. Then coming to a couple other states in the U.S. Yeah, and it would be cool if they were coming over respectfully and if they were putting like bad behaviors such as that to the side, you know? Um, they have very like ancient times they were great. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was some of the Muslim expansion that happened. Who knows? But something happened in their history where they just stopped giving a fuck. Yeah, something happened. Like they had they had all these. There's over 22 billion Hindu gods. They had all of the. It's just the history is. You know, the art. You ever seen them? You know, they got the mustaches kind of like this, and they're like dancing around, kind of shit. Little statues. What up, Fallen? Yeah, so it's been probably about 2,000 years since they've done any fucking thing to them. Uh, I don't know. The Mughals were also like Mongol, like Turkic kind of situation, you know. But at some point in time, like it was way, but people like say, "Oh, the British colonized it and did shit." And like, no, that's not what it was. No, because they didn't. They had already lost a lot of their culture and history by the time the British got there. And I don't know. This is all fact check shit. This is all truth. Like I'm not shooting from the hip. Pew, 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 pew. You know what I'm saying from this one? Yeah. Because you know I like to study my history. I felt like I sound like, you ever seen True Romance and he's explaining like the history of Sicilians to Christopher Walken. Calisthenes. I'm gonna search that. I'm gonna do some research on that later. Um, I will tell you this. Uh, we got a lot of crazy fucking news, dude. I'm trying to get back more into like the sci-fi gaming shit. I'm trying to go to the fandom again. You know, IPs of Warhammer, Magic the Gathering, whatever kind of little crazy funky shit's going on in the news. I'm trying to stay away from that, the little funky crazy news shit. Like, but it's kind of hard to stay away from, you know, because Lord have mercy. Kill the salmon for that spawned. Yeah, yeah. That's just they don't. It's like a polite society, you know. Like y'all seen that new? That's a little clip I guess Elon did talking about what's going on in England right now. He was on Joe Rogan's. He was talking about how like these people like, so it's basically yeah. He was saying, I'm gonna quote him a little bit. You have a village of 500 people living lives like hobbits or like little hobbit people living peacefully, eating, smiling, laughing, dancing, drinking, smoking, and then you put 1,000 of these like they're basically orcs. But they're basically orcs, you know, they send 1,000 orcs to this village of 500 hobbits. It's not gonna be good for the hobbits. You know, hobbits are gonna fight tooth and nail, or the hobbits are gonna have to get trampled underfoot, and then the orcs are gonna fucking destroy the hobbits' shire and create a orc village of shit, and then Mordor spreads. There you go. You crack me up. Yeah, the victors do write the history. The victors do write the history. And that's another, like, religion, sex, violence, all this shit is connected to history too deeply, you know, because I believe that the religion was started in order for old perverted men to have their deal, but there's always been a connection with God. I talked about this yesterday. We've always had a connection with God. That's separate. A connection with the God and Jesus is separate than religion. But the old perverted men have always wanted to control things and have the monopoly and all the money and power and wealth and have all the chicks. Um, why they start wars to kind of keep society controlled. And that's just my opinion. Okay, so it's religion, sexual depravity, money love, death, violence, and war, religion, sexual. You know, it's all starting over. Do. It's like an endless circle. Yeah. But hey, we just gotta we live our life. We live and we die. We live and we fight. It's set up that way. It's set up that way for sure. And it's to like kind of break past that. You just gotta. The older I've gotten, the more I realize you got to keep stuff to yourself, you know? I don't know what the hell that is. I know some things. I don't know that one. I feel like I do. An nonogram. Is that what that is? Is like the little arrows going back and forth? Yeah, dude, because it's because we as a human species, we are driven by our, Freud believed we were driven by desire and lust and passions. Uh, Nietzsche believed we were driven by a desire for power and dominance and for a desire to stand above our peers. And there's a third dude that believed some other shit, but it was just these two. I forgot the third guy's name. He believed we were in a. It might have been Kant. He believed we were on a quest for knowledge, a desire for. So you have a desire for knowledge, a desire for pleasure, a desire for power. We may very well be stuck in all three of these things. Okay. Let me come up with one of those for war real quick. W stands for wacky. A stands for asses. R stands for retarded. Wacky ass retards. You know? But I'm sure that there is a deeper kind of numerological meaning on it. But yeah, I'm gonna get off of here, start getting ready for work. You know what I mean? I'm about to leave. Pretty much am ready, but I want to do a Stellaris live stream tonight. Get us ready for 3IL. Have the day that you guys make. You feel me? Something comes across you that makes you angry. Just think of something you can smell. Think of something you can hear. Think of something you can touch or that you like, and just be out. You know. And realize that that's the only thing you can control about something that's physically out of your control. The only thing you can control is your attitude about it. With that being said, we'll see you guys later.